Well, I'm Nia Burrell, and I will be presenting my internship presentation to you. So for my introduction, I did my internship at Kansas Wesleyan University in the weight room down on the main level of the Student Activity Center. I had to complete 350 hours of internship hours, and my internship supervisor was Mark Ayala, and he is the strength and conditioning coordinator at Kansas Wesleyan University. And my main job was to train athletes in the weight room whenever they were to come in to do their team weights. So my learning objectives was to gain knowledge of the operations of the gym equipment. So we used treadmills and things like the squat racks, and to become familiar with policies, procedures, and methods of training. So policies meaning keeping it a professional environment, and procedures just in case somebody gets an injury, and methods of training, just how I'm going to implement my workouts with the athletes, and to expand my understanding and knowledge of how academic learning applies to my intended field. So everything that I learn in class, how am I going to implement that into real world experiences? Learn and implement effective professional attitudes and behaviors. So for people that I know like personally, I have to kind of brush them away and treat them like they're a stranger. So as like if I was training one of my best friends, like I'd have to train her like she is somebody that I've never met. And lastly was to develop new skills. As for my strategies to make my learning objectives successful, I would observe professionals at my internship site, which is Mark Ayala or John Nicoletti, and then I would implement these skills that I've learned and teach them to somebody else that I do not interact with every day. I would teach others with new knowledge that I've learned from the classroom and my internship, maintain positive eagerness, and to learn how to have better attitudes. Observe others I don't work with in my internship, so like Brian Bill and Josh Lewis, who are the other football coaches that also do the weights, and ask questions whenever it is needed. So for the evaluation part, I would keep a reflective journal for every day that I do my internship, which was a total of 55 days over, I want to say 3.5 to 4 months, and then I would achieve positive results on my evaluations from my internship supervisor. I would create a mission statement for myself in like my future career, I guess, and I would keep track of assignments and tests that will be coming up. So the activities that I did was I provided workouts for every single team that is on this campus. So cheer and dance, softball, cross country and track, wrestling, women's and men's basketball, women's and men's soccer, football, volleyball, and golf. So I was pretty much in there all day, every day. The only difference was that when we had golf, their schedules were all conflicted with each other, so we would have more individual work with them. And so these are just my midterm evaluations. My supervisor gave me 10s the first round, and he said that I did everything in a timely manner, and that I was great to work with because I was easily to adapt to my learning environment. And my final evaluation, he also gave me 10s on everything, and he said that I was an awesome intern and that he's gonna miss me because I'm graduating in 3 days, so that's good. And then, so this first picture, this was, you probably can't really see it because of the lights, but my main job was to spot athletes that needed help whenever they couldn't lift any kind of weight. So this is on the squat rack, and then in the closet we had the ladders that the athletes would do their agilities with, the sticks that where they would do their overhead over and backs and their overhead squats. And then in this bucket there are lacrosse balls and bands for when they wanted to either roll out, stretch, or do some band work. And then we have the physio balls and then the medicine balls. Like I said earlier, this is one of the squat racks. This here is a TRX band that they can do a lot of different body weight exercises. These bands were really good for cheer and dance because most of them were in a program to lose weight rather than gain muscle. And so that was effective most of the time. And then we have our plyo boxes over here where they would do box jumps and the Bulgarian squats, and then we have platforms where you would do your snatch or a deadlift and various exercises. This bottom picture is just a overview of one half of the gym, this is where we would do like our agility and like our warm-ups and things like that. This top picture is just the squat racks and plyo boxes. I'm here just assisting one of the clients that I had in the weight room with a workout that he needed help with. And then over here is the dumbbell racks that we had and that we would always use. And then this top picture is one of the early mornings that I had, 5 o'clock in the morning with women's soccer. This is Mark Ayala, who's the strength and conditioning coordinator down in the weight room. And then this is just a panorama of the platforms and the squat racks that mainly every team would use, especially the platforms where you would do the Kyle complexes and things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Yes. So, for your internship, do you think you learned a great deal of working out and having that firsthand experience to basically get into what you want to do later in life?
Yeah. So like, I personally learned a lot, like especially with like arms like activities. When I would do pull-ups, I only do like these ones, but then like it's only works like one major muscle in your back, versus doing the ones that are out wide and the ones that are here. Like you're basically like, they call it a back attack, which I think is kind of weird, but whatever. But I know that this will help me like in the future, because I know I want to go to nursing school. So like if somebody comes in and they're like, oh well, this hurts, and I'm like, oh, it's probably your vastus medialis. It's probably just sore because you worked out too hard. So I mean, I learned a lot, and I know it will help me in the future. So yeah, it's pretty much it.
Awesome.
Any more questions?
Do you feel that working with others, like people your age, helped with like learning more because you're able to connect better?
It helped it helped, but it didn't really help, because I know like more people, like older people like to go to the gym more than younger people. Like they just like to go out and party and stuff, not gonna lie. But I mean, like it helped personally, because like I know most of the people on this campus, so like I have like that connection with these people, and like I can have fun with them and stuff like that. But then at the same time, it didn't really prepare me for like adults really, even though I did have a client who was, I think, 27 years old for one of my classes, and that kind of helped me be prepared. But at the same time, if I have like a 7-year-old woman, I'm not gonna know what to do. Obviously I'm not gonna have her freaking like bench like 200 pounds, but I mean, it is what it is. But